combine my two favorite things, woodworking and cars. So something you don't see very often is the front of my wood shop here, and it houses my 1993 Mustang. I've had about 7 of these over the years, and I think that kind of qualifies as a fetish by now. But at any rate, I've had this for about 5 years. And so when my neighbor reached out to me and said, hey, I've got an opportunity for you to help me with one of my pickup trucks, I jumped at the opportunity. Let's see what he has.
Okay, this is a 1938 Chevy half-ton pickup, been highly modified. It has a 4-link rear end, a 68 Camaro subframe front with disc brakes, power steering, power brakes. It's got a 235 6-cylinder Chevrolet engine, dual exhaust, dual carburetor. It's been totally stripped down to bare metal and modified. It's sat in a garage for 20 years all apart, and when I bought it, I had no idea I was going to build it. It was too good a deal to pass up, and now I've put way too much money in it, and I'm okay with it.
Most projects end up that way.
Yeah, exactly. All these back here are like that.
Sure. Okay.
That's about it.
So here are my notes from my visit with Ron. We're going to have 2 stakes on each side of the bed that fit down to the stake pockets, and then 2 horizontal runners, 140 and 178 inches long. Let's get started. All right, so I've got all my pieces roughed out now. These will be the stakes that go vertical into the bed pockets, and these will be my horizontal runners here. So I wish I could say I had a plan. I could just put all this stuff together and make it fit on the first try, but unfortunately I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'll have to go back to my neighbor's house and try and clamp all this stuff together, mark it there, and then come back here and do all the joinery. So earlier I was at my neighbor's house and we laid everything out where it needs to be and I marked it all. And so what we're gonna do now is cut our lap joints. And a lap joint is not this, well I mean technically it is, but it's also this. And this is what we're gonna be using to put our wood frame together. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is trim off all of my excess material on the posts that are too long. This is turning out to be a little bit trickier of a project than I thought. Got my cut depth set at just under a ½ inch. And the blade is just inside the line. And we're gonna make a few passes, scoot it over, and probably finish it with a router. Well, as with most of my videos, you can probably tell that I've had, who knows, a half dozen shirts on by now, just because this, what should be a simple, probably 3-hour project is now probably a month. And this is a hobby for me. I have a full-time job in the professional world, and when this starts turning into something that feels like a job, it isn't fun anymore. And lately I've felt obligated to come out here and work on this kind of stuff. And I just haven't had time. My neighbor's obviously not in a hurry for this at all. But I still feel obligated to get it done in a reasonable amount of time. I haven't charged him for anything yet. All this material I paid for in my own pocket. So, that's not really a problem at all. It's just sometimes it's a struggle to motivate yourself to do things that, like, I'm happy to do this, but this isn't a project that I was in my mind looking forward to going and doing. He asked me if I could do it. I said yes, and I'm doing it. And I'm happy to do it, but sometimes you just need that excitement about what you're doing to finish it, and I haven't had that lately. So I say all that to say, be careful with the motivation behind taking your projects on. If it's to make money, make sure that you have the time to put forward to doing it. If it's for fun, as why I do this, same reason I make YouTube videos, same reason I post everything on social media, because I enjoy it. And all I can say is don't ever get to a point where you lose the fun because it becomes work, and then you start to resent it, and then you burn out. So try not to burn out. Outside of that, I'm picking it back up, and I have a couple of pieces I need to trim that are just a hair undersized. With this kind of stuff, you want to start small, and you can always make the openings bigger. It's a lot more difficult to make them smaller. I'm just back from my test fit, and y'all watched me lay this out in the back of his truck, mock it up, mark everything, and somehow my rear, front or rear, but really we'll just call it rear because it's easier to adjust, stake pockets are too far aft by about 1/4 of an inch. So our saving grace here is that he said he didn't much care to have this tail piece on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my router, I'm gonna mark 1/4 inch up, and I'm gonna route out that piece of that lap, scoot this forward, mark it, and cut the waste off the back here on both pieces, and go back over there and try to fit. Okay, so after my second test fitting trip, which was successful, we have a couple of things to work on. This tail right here, he said, get rid of that. We don't need it. The other thing is, I don't know if I can really show this well with the camera, but This bed stake is the thickness of the stake pocket, which is thicker than the bed rail here. So he asked if I could kind of, I don't know what the word is, but basically cut out the extra material here. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed making it. And luckily, my neighbor is very happy with the results, as am I. Now, my next video is already in the works. I dragged this 12-inch joiner out of a field and restored it. Stick around, it's coming soon.